Here we go with the transfer stories.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yeah, what's popping, brethren? How's it going? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. As always, I do hope you're doing well. Really do hope that. Oh, that was a lovely Manchester City capitulation yesterday. If you're yet to watch my video on it on the second channel, Football Yannick, do go check it out. Football Yannick on YouTube. Great fun. Of course, we're playing them on the weekend, so it is relevant to the Chelsea. But today we're speaking on transfer stories because, yes, we are in the, dare I say, dying embers of the winter January transfer window. In today's video, we have a here we go. Would you believe it? Would you Adam and Eve it? Yes, Renato Vega to Juve on loan. More stuff. The Garnacho situation will not go away. Apparently bid in the next hour should we do that. Speaking of Juventus, we spoke about Douglas Luiz. Something that I haven't actually picked up yet on Sammy Mokbel confirming Chelsea are interested in Matheus Cunha, who's obviously amazing. But is he what we want? And similarly, Tyler Dibling, who, of course, is in Leslie Ugachukwu's team, Southampton, who actually looks bloody wicked. But again, is he what we need? We'll get into all of it today, guys. As always, I'll thank you for your support. Thank you for dropping a like on the video, subscribing, all that lovely gear. It is appreciated. A little reminder that I am delighted to say this video is brought to you by my partner Stocks FC. Last video I showed you that my portfolio is changing. Stocks FC is a stock market for trading players. It's 18 plus. You get to test your footballing knowledge, much like Fantasy Premier League. Buy low, sell high. It's a sleek, slick platform. It's a lot of fun as well. You know, if you want to check it out, put a few quid in, have a bit of fun with it, something else on top of FPL, I recommend that you do so. Check out Stocks FC by clicking the link in the top of the description or scanning this QR code right here. Just noticed when I did that Stocks FC plug there that my green screen is not fully up. So we're back in business, baby. Right, so we have got here we go, and this is from, of course, Fabrizio Romano exclusive. Juventus have agreed a deal with Chelsea to sign Renato Vega. Here we go. Loan deal is for €5 million. Presumably they're paying his wages as well, you'd have to assume, which I imagine aren't much at all. No buy option clause, and then the player back to Chelsea at the end of June for the Club World Cup. So he could play in Chelsea's Club World Cup campaign. Vega is expected to play as a centre-back for Juventus. Right. We know he wanted to play as a centre-back. We all many of us assumed that he wanted to just get a big move, maybe capitalise, go play for a centre-back somewhere, but then the story was that he doesn't actually want to leave Chelsea. He might just recognise that the Conference League phase is done and his time will be limited, and if he plays for Chelsea, he'll be a sort of utility man in the cups and playing in different positions, whereas he wants to play a lot as a starting centre-back, which is interesting. Juve, I think they're still unbeaten in Serie A, even though they draw every single frigging game and get 0-0s all the time. I suppose that's alluring as a defender. Because they like clean sheets, right? They don't like scoring goals. I mean, Vega does love a goal, to be honest. It's interesting. Also, Matt Law confirmed the sort of the moving of the goalposts regarding this transfer, because Chelsea would not entertain a loan. They thought, look, if you want to buy Renato Vega, come and buy him. Offer something good money and we'll make a wicked profit. But as time's gone on, for some reason, they've changed their position on that. And that's a great loan, really, isn't it? It's Juventus. He's gone from Basel obscurity to Chelsea to, relatively high profile. I'm not saying Juve are Chelsea are high profile like Juve, but do you know what I mean? Like, he's going from big club to big club here. He's getting starts in the Portuguese national team, and it's all going really well. And this is like a seminal year in the young player's career. Like, he's 20 when we signed him. Is he 21 now? I don't have a massive issue with it. We've got young players that can come into the midfield. Hopefully we can utilise. Of course, the story is as well that Chelsea may look to buy a central midfielder. Of course, Lavia will be out for a few weeks. We don't know how bad. Enzo might be ready for the weekend, but he might. I don't know. Maybe we have to manage him a bit more. I wonder if an opportunity came about, because look, if Cesare Casadei and Vega both gone, even if we keep Dewsbury Hall, I'm thinking, yeah, but more than anything, guys, left back. We've only got Cucurella, and Cucurella's been sort of playing as a midfielder. So I suppose Levi Colwell and I suppose Badiashile, when he returns, kind of play that de facto left back role. I don't know, man. I think it leaves us short. There's no news saying we're in the market for a left back. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Let's move on. Right then, I suppose we should talk about Garnacho. Romano, big transfer boy again, says Garnacho is a concrete possibility. Chelsea are really, that's two reallys, considering making a bid. Value is £60 million sterling. Chelsea could make a bid in the next hours or days. Let's see. Guys, I must say, this doesn't tickle my fancy, because Napoli, who of course was the other team in for Garnacho, they've now turned their attentions to Karim Adeyemi, who's another player Chelsea were kind of looking at, but many Chelsea fans were pleased that we're not going in for Karim Adeyemi, because he seems just a little bit like classic Bundesliga transitional player. I don't want to say like Timo Werner too much, but you know, players like Werner, and dare I say, I don't mean this necessarily in a bad way, but to a degree, Nkunku do so well in the Bundesliga, that up and down transitional football, running in behind, scoring loads of goals, loads of goals. Werner at Leipzig, Nkunku at Leipzig. You can see why Nkunku wants to go back to the Bundesliga and play for the best team in the Bundesliga, in Bayern Munich. That's what he wants to go there. They want him. I imagine that deal will happen probably in the summer. So Adeyemi, I think, similar essentially. Looks really good in the Bundesliga, running in behind. Similar. Incidentally, I think Mykhailo Mudryk would do really well in German football, because he's a very transitional player as well, like running in the channel. He did that at Shakhtar very, very well. So Garnacho, he's clearly very talented. I saw some stat that I posted on my Instagram that he's got the most in the last 3 years. He's got the most goals and assists for any active U21 player, like over the likes of Lamine Yamal and this, that, and the other. And obviously, like, he's been off the boil. He's had attitude problems with Ten Hag, but he's also looked a bit like a star boy. He scored that goal, that overhead kick. I know it's just a goal. All goals count the same. There is something, I said on the London is Blue podcast not very long ago, that Nkunku is the only player in our team that will try and score probably an overhead kick, and he's going to go, and that's probably the right thing, considering all what we've talked about in Cunha for at length in terms of profiling, fit, unhappy player, or whatever. We can talk about it forever. Garnacho scored one of the best free kicks I've ever seen. Now, I'm not saying there's a reason to sign him, yeah, but and guys, please listen to me. I'm not saying Chelsea should sign Garnacho for 60 million quid. I'm trying to talk about theoretically what this would represent in certain scenarios, okay? If Mykhailo Mudryk is banned and we need a left-sided young attacker, okay? I'm not saying we need young attackers. I think we need a more senior striker, or at least just a proper profiled number 9. But if we want a young left-sided attacker, yeah, there is something for a player who's capable and got the bollocks for the spectacular like that. We just don't have it. Like, Cole Palmer's different. Cole Palmer's not going to score an overhead kick, but he'll, in the same way Eden Hazard wasn't going to score an overhead kick. But there is something about having that kind of player that will try that in a situation like that in your team. He's not been prolific at Manchester United, but you know what? Neither was Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho is already, like, a couple of games ago, matched his entire Manchester United career assist numbers at Chelsea. And Sancho was certainly off the boil and considered to have attitude problems at Manchester United. Now, I'd much rather have Sancho than Garnacho. Saying it now. Firstly, I prefer the type of player Sancho is. I think he's appropriate for Maresca. And I know it's dumb. It does count for something. He's a Chelsea fan, Sancho. And I'm an Englishman. I like him as an English player. I want him to get into the national team again. That's just my personal thing. Garnacho's very young. How old is he? 20? 21? How old is he? He's 20, bro. He's not even 21 until July, dude. So it's because he's been around since he's for a couple of years now. If, for example, Manchester United are on their knees financially and they need a rebuild for Amorim and pure profit sale like Garnacho is massive. So if, for example, we got Garnacho and he wouldn't go for nothing because he's, Napoli bid 45 million from him. So say 50 million quid. If Chelsea could buy Garnacho for 50 million quid, right, and sign him on a 8-year deal or whatever they'd want to do to protect it because he's so young, that'd still probably take him to 28. Would it be the worst thing in the world? I don't know, maybe not. He'd still be 12, again, in this theoretical world, he'd be £12 million cheaper than the base that Mudryk cost. And we've seen him be good in Premier League games at times, which of course we didn't see with Mudryk. I'm not saying we should sign him. I'm just thinking if we sign, because it's not like it's a problem position, yeah, and we're putting all our hopes on Garnacho to save us, then the fan base should rightly be collapsing. But we've got wingers. It's a striker. Say Jackson was just not even doing anything. I know he's on a barren spell, but just couldn't do anything. Say if he was like just totally inept, right? And we're like, we need a striker. Oh my God, we need a striker. And then we signed Rasmus Højlund. Then I'd be like, oh my God, what are we doing? Do you know what I mean? Especially for the money he cost. That was like 80 million. But because it's a rotational option with Sancho, because he's got an eye for the spectacular, because maybe he's got a point to prove away from United. United are a crap show. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I'm not being an advocate of it. I'm just trying to offer some balance. Devil's advocate. Well, okay, so yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. That's really important. Just briefly, Fabrizio Romano also confirms that Chelsea did talk to Juventus about Douglas Luiz, who I think would have been a bloody wicked acquisition. That would have been sensible. Chelsea wanted to loan him, though. Juventus, sounding like Chelsea, they don't want a loan move at this stage, so negotiations are currently not advancing. But yeah, he would have been great, Douglas Luiz, as a midfield option. So yes, a couple of other attackers to talk about. Sammy Mockbell of the Daily Mail, who's well informed. He spoke about how Matheus Cunha is on the radar of Nottingham Forest, who would at first would have been like lol, but they are suddenly very good. So they are in the conversation. I mean, will they stay there? I don't know. Probably. I've got a feeling. I have a feeling that Nottingham Forest aren't going to suddenly be a top 4 team forever under Espirito Santo, but they're certainly having a wonderful time. Spurs, Arsenal, and Chelsea. Now, Matheus Cunha has got like 10 goals and 4 assists or something this season for a Wolves side that's, I think, in the relegation zone. Yeah, he's got 10 goals and 4 assists in the Premier League in 19 games. He's in double digits for goals. He's an attacking midfielder. He can play in the centre or the left or as a forward. Now, for me, what does that tell you? Christopher Nkunku. Like, positionally, Christopher Nkunku. Although, I know it's better to use X value or FB ref or understat. I am on Who Scored, that show you the strengths and weaknesses. The weakness is, he says he's not great at aerial duels, but he's strong at headed attempts, crossing, finishing, holding up the ball, key passes, long shots, and very strong at dribbling. So he's got all these strengths in one weakness. His style of play is counter-attacking threat, which Chelsea do sometimes. He's good at dribbling. He likes to cut inside, gets fouled often. Indirect set-piece threat, likes to cross. we don't need Cunha. It would be exciting to sign him in the same way it was very exciting to sign Nkunku. They're so similar, bro. Like, you know, I'd rather, if we're going to keep a player that we're trying to figure out, it's going to be Joao Felix because he can deputise for Parma. He probably pairs a false 9, change the way we play. But for me, Cunha is just so similar to Nkunku as like a really quality player. And of course, we've seen Cunha do it in the Premier League, but I think Nkunku can do it in the Premier League, just in a different setup. In fact, Nkunku playing for Wolves would probably be sick. Do you know what I mean? So, no, he's been the bane of Chelsea, Cunha. If we sign him, I'm going to be excited because it's just... signing Neto was exciting. Signing Sancho was exciting. These are just signing good players is exciting. Felix, I was excited. It's how football works, isn't it? So we'll see what happens there. It's also mentioned as well, this is coming from Sky Sports, which aren't always the most... For the biggest sports broadcaster and publication, they're not the most reputable, you must say. So they are saying that Chelsea have joined the race for Southampton star Tyler Dibling, who, by the way, was at Chelsea for a year. And 2022 was still his youth career, bearing in mind he's only 18. So at 16, he sort of popped into Chelsea before going to Southampton to finish his youth development, and then goes into the first team, which started last campaign. He in the Championship and now in the Premier League. Very, very exciting, Dibling. He looks wicked, do you know what I mean? He looks like the star in that team, much like Lavia did before we bought him. It looks like Tyler did. To be honest, again, it's another winger. I don't know what to tell you, mate. It's another right winger. So what, you'd have Noni, Neto, and Tyler Dibling. I mean, if they go straight back down and he gets a move to Chelsea where he gets good wages and we loan him to Strasbourg, I mean, again, cynical. You might think, oh, it's boring and don't want to hear about Strasbourg, but it might be a good move for Chelsea if we can get him. But he's going to cost a lot of money, actually, so he's not going to be a Strasbourg signing. Anyway, I will, of course, follow all the stories here on the channel, guys, so do keep it locked to this channel, Football Therapy. Do check out Stocks FC if you get a moment. It's good fun. But you can scan this on your telephone on the big screen, or you can click links in the description. Also, Goat Gang merch is available to cop, as I believe the children say, cop. If you're interested in that, caps coming soon, as well as tees and organic tees and hoodies. All right, friends, take care of yourselves. I'll see you back here soon, hopefully. Peace.